attend the National Day of Honour in Ottawa for the end of the Canadian mission in Afghanistan. I'd like to congratulate the True Patriot Love Foundation and their founder and chair, Shawn Francis, and vice chair, Michael Burns, as well as Canada Company and their founder, Blake Goldring, and executive director, Walter Moniz, for their work hosting the families of the fallen for their breakfast. And they were joined in that effort by Air Canada, Via Rail, CN, Canadian Tire, and Tim Hortons, all of whom together paid to bring the families of the fallen to Ottawa to celebrate that day, so paying for transportation, accommodation, and other costs. I was lucky enough to chat with some of New Brunswick's families of the fallen, and their feedback was very positive. They were well treated and they were in high spirits. I'd also like to thank the Government of Canada and congratulate them for their role in convening the National Day of Honour, and in particular the Department of National Defence and Veterans Affairs. I think it's important, Mr. Speaker, to mark these occasions. It was, of course, an impressive ceremony marked with music and, of course, a military parade. And it helped to mark the end and to bring some closure to what was a 12-year effort. Our thoughts, of course, go to the families and the fallen, 158 members of the Canadian Forces, 1 diplomat, and numerous civilians that gave the supreme sacrifice, and over 2,000 wounded soldiers and sailors and airmen and their families. Indeed, over 40,000 Canadians served in Afghanistan, mostly members of the Canadian Armed Forces, but in fact a whole-of-government approach was taken, so there were over 300 policemen and women from the RCMP and municipal police forces from across Canada. There were diplomats, aid workers, CBSA employees of DFATE and CEDA, and as well civilian contractors and even Tim Hortons employees, all part of the effort. They were all volunteers for their service. They were all volunteers for service, I should say, and they were motivated to protect their country and to make the world a better place. All were marked by their service. Some carry wounds, and some of those wounds are yet to appear. But many, over 38,000, have actually returned to Canada unharmed, and many are stronger for having served. I was lucky to spend the day with friends and family, and with a lot of Afghan vets, some members of the Soldier On team. And I'll tell you, Mr. Speaker, the mood was positive. They were happy. They were glad to be appreciated and remembered, and they were focused on the future and finding other ways to add value in Canada. So, Mr. Speaker, please, I'd like to ask all members of the House to join me in congratulating the True Patriot Love Foundation, Canada Company, and the Government of Canada for hosting the National Day of Honour. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.